and we're introducing Sede Coscarella from Cizzle.
Thanks so much. Morning, everybody. Y'all can hear me in the back. I don't like to stand in front of a computer too much. Thank you for taking some time to listen to about our company. We were watching the Blue Jays game. Yeah? Lots of people, right? See John Schneider standing in front, spitting out sunflower seeds, big old bucket of Gatorade. There's no Gatorade in that bucket. You watch the Dodgers play, see a big old cooler of Prime. There's no Prime in that bucket. There's quench in the buckets. We sell our product to about 75% of all the proteins in North America. Now, the reason I'll have Gatorade on the front is because they pay for it. The teams turn around, take that money, and buy our product and put in it instead. We make the best product on the market. Now, who here has ever heard of a company called BioSteel? Okay. BioSteel started in 2009. This management team that we have are the team that built BioSteel. Now, some of you may have heard BioSteel recently ran into some problems because it was sold to Canopy back in 2019. So, right from the beginning, that team, my team, built BioSteel from a $50,000 loan to a company that was doing in excess of $100 million a year. Canopy goes around and buys it, and somehow finds a way to bankrupt a company doing $100 million a year. Canopy. So, in 2023, they filed for CZZL. By that point, the team had already left. When they filed for CZZL and put it into bankruptcy, it burned all the non-competes. So, I got together with John Salenza, who was the founder of BioSteel, him and Mike Camilleri, and I said, look, you have everything at this point. You have the relationship with the athletes. You know how to formulate the product. You clearly demonstrated it to the market that you know how to put this thing and actually start generating real revenue. And you've got the whole team in place and the distribution to go off and do it. So why don't we just go do this all over again? Because it seems like somebody killed your baby and we can go make another one. And in 2023, late 2023, early 2024, that's exactly what we went out and did. So we put this whole team back together. We went out and raised about 20 million bucks and got to work. On January 2024, this was still an idea on a piece of paper. By late May, we had product in market. Our first year, so our year ends July 31st. Our first year, like to date, we haven't reported Q4 yet. That happens next week. For the first 9 months, we've done 9.2 million in sales. We'll crack 13, all right? So for a Canadian company that started a year ago, that just started getting product in the market, we've already surpassed 10 million in sales, which is not something you typically see. So one of the things that I like to say about our company is we're a startup that isn't. Because yes, technically the company started about a year and a half ago, but the experience of the team has built this exact product in this category for the last 20. So we know what we're doing, and we can get to this very, very quickly. Now, when you think about consumer packaged products, if you haven't seen our product, this is one of the, we make a bunch of different flavors, this is one of them. So we put it in a Tetra Pak. I'll get to the Tetra Pak in a second. When you think about consumer packaged goods or CPG, CPG is basically three things. Can you make a product at scale? Can you get it on the shelf? Can you get it off the shelf? You do those three things really well, and you're going to be wildly successful. So typically, when a company's looking at launching a new product, there's a top-down approach and a bottom-up approach. If you're Coca-Cola or you're Pepsi, you're going to create a product, you're going to drop it in market, you're going to put a couple of $1 billion behind marketing, you're going to hope people go in the store and buy it because they're going to see it everywhere. You're Coke. You can get distribution wherever you want. When you're starting from the bottom up like we are, you have to build demand and move up the channels. So when we go out and we started this, the first thing we did is a grassroots campaign. We went out and sponsored about 500 single A, double A, triple A hockey teams. We put our brand, our patch, our water bottles, our product on about 10,000 kids playing single A, double A, triple A hockey. Now if any of you have played or have children that play, you know these kids are playing hockey 5 to 7 days a week because every single one of them is going to make a shot. Right? And listen, for the amount of work that they do, I really hope they do. But I mean, they put in a lot of time and effort. So they're engaging with our brand 5 to 7 days a week. Then you go and you put the product in all the concession stands, in the vending machines, in the pro shop, in all the arenas, because they're not only are they wearing it, then they're going to see it at that place where they're playing. As you start building demand there, then you move up the channel, which we call points of sweat. So places where you go to buy your equipment, and the reason we call it points of sweat is you're either sweating there or buying stuff to use to sweat later. Sporting goods shops, gyms, and you start putting product there. As those kids and those families go in to buy the equipment, now all of a sudden you start getting turn and demand. As you build that turn over there, you move up a channel again, you go to regional grocery, you go to regional convenience, then you start moving into national. This is where we are right now. Again, this took us one whole and complete year, which is actually not bad. We're in over 5,000 stores across Canada and the US. And again, this is built on the fact that we have a lot of these relationships already. So when we're going out with a product that has previously proven itself and saying, here's the new and improved version, we get distribution. But you only get distribution once. They'll put it on the shelf, they'll give you the benefit of the doubt, but if the product doesn't pull off of the shelf, they'll buy it once and that'll be that. We don't have a single account that hasn't reordered multiple times. 4 of our largest accounts in the first half of the year ordered 111 times in 6 months. Product turnover. So when you think about, yes, we can make product at scale, yes, we're able to get product on the shelf, and our reorder rate is through the roof. Typically in this category, especially on the drink side, if you're selling about 10, 11 drinks per store per week, you're doing phenomenally well. That's really the threshold that a retailer is going to look at to say, do I want to continue to keep this product? Sure. So our product right now is moving at about 16, 17 drinks per store per week. So well above the threshold. The other key thing to note, in a lot of these stores, especially when you're looking at places like Loblaws or Fortino's, the grocery channels, when you go in at first, especially because we're a health product, I'll get into the stats in a sec. You're a health product, it goes into the natural set. So if you ever walked in the grocery store, you see the natural food aisle, we're hitting those volumes in the natural food aisle, blowing their expectations out of the water. Come February, they end up moving it into planogram, it goes into the regular aisle. Once it goes into the regular aisle, those volumes typically double, if not triple. So we're basically on the precipice of having this thing completely explode because we've already proven it in the lesser shelf. Now, one story about BioSteel. There was an inflection point at BioSteel that really took this thing through the roof in terms of sales. And it happened because of the NHL. So at the time, Gatorade was the sponsor of the NHL. But every player was squirting out this pink drink. Gatorade didn't make a pink drink. So everybody started asking, what the hell are these players drinking? Because Gatorade doesn't make a flavor that color. Eventually, Gary Roberts goes on Hockey Night in Canada, who was an investor at the time, and he says, oh no, they're all drinking BioSteel. You can imagine what happened then. Everything took off, right? What's happening now is the exact same thing. When it comes to the pro teams, it's our drink in that bottle. In the NHL, we've got a bunch of NHLers who are investors in our company. I can tell you for a fact, if you don't believe me, I'll show you the checks. I've got checks from the Kings, I've got checks from the Dodgers, from the Blue Jays, from the Twins, from the Florida Panthers. They're all filling those bottles with our product. So this is gonna happen all over again. Despite the fact that Body Armor is a sponsor of the NHL, much to the chagrin of the NHL. They get their product for free. They turn around, take that money and buy ours. Like, that's the best testimonial I can possibly give you, because any athlete can get any product they want for free. The fact that they're buying ours to drink instead of the one that they get for free. So, cup of the cow, I'm not gonna read through it, you guys can read through it, I'll send the deck out, and I've got one-on-ones you guys can come and meet me. But when I really think about this company and how we're going to progress into the future, we're at the point now where we're gonna start reporting quarter-over-quarter growth, okay? The first year, you're looking at Q1 over Q2, Q2 over Q3, 3 over 4. The problem is this business is seasonal, so it doesn't really make a ton of sense. Really, when you're looking at this space from an investment standpoint, you're looking at Q1 over Q1, Q2 over Q2, 3 over 3. So when you look at very successful brands that have followed a similar trajectory, things like Celsius, things like Monster, those are the two of the highest returning stocks of all time, Coke. When they were hitting double and triple digit quarter-over-quarter growths, those companies were trading 15 to 20 times sales because it would be consistent. They would run that pattern for years. If you look back at Celsius, I mean, it languished in sort of the penny stock range, and then once the sales actually started becoming meaningful, they cracked 10 million in sales, and then the sales started growing. That's when the market started rewarding them with extreme multiples. We're at that stage right now. Our first quarter that we ever reported was Q4, and that was 2.1 million. We're gonna crack close to 4 on this one. So that gives us our first high double-digit, low triple-digit quarter-over-quarter growth. That's gonna continue for many years to come because although we have 5,000 doors, there are hundreds of thousands across Canada and the US. Right now, our sales are distributed. We got 70% Canada, about 20% US, 10% Europe. So remember when I told you that grassroots piece that we did last year? We've received so many inbounds this year because now the kids actually want it. We're gonna be doing about 2,000 of them throughout Canada and the US. And we're really focusing a lot on the northeastern US where hockey is sort of key. A lot of Canadian companies, especially when they wanna go and try to commercialize in the US, think they can do it all in one foul swoop. You cannot. So you go state by state and we pick the states where hockey is king. So if you think of a state like Minnesota, hockey in Minnesota is like football in Texas, right? It's Friday night lights, the arenas are full, and we went out and did a deal with Minnesota State Hockey. So now we're the official drink of Minnesota State Hockey. In fact, we went and did a deal with Team USA. Now, especially given the political climate, you might say, why is a Canadian company sponsoring US team? Well, it's because Gatorade sponsored Canada, so if the Americans are gonna sponsor Canada, we'll put the Canadian flag on the Americans. So this is a suite of our drink product. I'll show you one here. This is how we compare to everyone else. And when you look at the comparison, there really isn't one. Our product is developed, and he's on our board, by Andy O'Brien. Andy is the strength and conditioning coach for Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon. He's won 3 Stanley Cups, most recently with the Florida Panthers. The guy's basically a cheat code in the NHL because everywhere he goes, he ends up winning a Stanley Cup. And he's on our board, and he helps develop all of the product. So we've got more electrolytes than anyone else. We don't have any sugar. You pour that drink out, it's clear. Now people are starting to understand that a lot of the stuff that goes into these consumer packaged goods are not good for you. Stuff that we never thought. Food coloring. Who thought food coloring was bad? Now all of a sudden it is. Preservatives, stabilizers. We don't have any of that. That's one of the reasons why we use the Tetra Pak. Because there's nothing in that box that shouldn't be in there. The box does the preserving for you. In fact, it's got a longer shelf life than Gatorade, with all the chemicals. We've got the same shelf life as water, which is 2 years. Still finds odd that water has an expiry when it can sit in a river for millions of years, but the second you put it in a package, it only lasts for 2, but fine. So anyway, our expiry is water. You pour that drink out, it's clear. There's no artificial color. The color's on the box. You don't need to drink it, right? And it's a very, very, very clean product. We make it effectively for pro athletes. So we make it strong enough for a pro athlete and safe enough for a kid. I give this to my kids. Every parent gives that to their kids. And this was one of the reasons why Prime ended up falling off a cliff. They did a phenomenal job of creating a wealth of hype. Logan Paul, KSI, Mr. Beast, they infiltrated the kids' screens and made it cool. The problem was when mom and dad went to go look at what was in these products, they're like, I'm not giving my kid this. The other big mistake they made is they called their caffeine drink and their energy and their hydration drink Prime. So a parent didn't know if they were giving their kid a Gatorade or 17 espressos. Sometimes you just gotta pay attention to the market and learn from other people's mistakes so that you don't make them. And there were a lot of things that Prime did well on the marketing side and a ton of stuff they did horribly wrong on the product side. So we make our product so that mom and dad can always feel good about giving this to their kid. And it goes beyond drinks. We've got an ultra high-end supplement line called Spoken, Sleep Builder. We've run Oura Ring studies with pro athletes. It's off the chart how it doesn't put you to sleep. It's not a sleep, you don't take it and then it falls asleep. It's not like a sleeping pill, but it'll keep you asleep. And the recovery that you get off of using a product like Sleep Builder is out of this world. Our greens product is better than AG1. Who's heard of AG1? Right, AG1 does over $1 billion a year. Who's AG1's biggest competitor? Well, it seems ripe for a little competition, wouldn't you say? You're doing $1 billion a year, and nobody decided to go do a better greens product, so we made a better greens product. Aminos, we've got over 13 SKUs. Our biggest buyers of this product right now are the Yankees and the Dodgers. Sorry, I'm a Jays fan too, but I'll sell. And they keep buying it over and over again because we make it at a pro athlete grade. It's not the cheapest stuff on the market, not by a long shot, but it's not meant to be. We just launched SportPasta. That pasta we made in Italy. It has semolina flour, chickpea, lentil, quinoa, packed with protein, 19 grams of protein per serving. We spent a year building that out, and it is I'm Italian, so. It's indistinguishable from white pasta in taste and texture. Because any alternative flour pasta tastes like it's made with alternative flour, and people eat it because they have to, not because they want to. That's a product you can eat because you want to, because it tastes great, and it still delivers the macro that any athlete or any kid would otherwise want. We launched that about 2 months ago. It's already sold through our initial order. We've got more product containers coming from Italy. We're getting a listing at Whole Foods on that. That's already going into major grocery. So it's already met the threshold of a new product category, and parents are asking for stuff like this because now, more than ever, parents are actually starting to see the benefit of providing a higher protein diet for their kids where you don't have to fill them with a bunch of empty carbs. The next product that we're going to be launching in January is Sport Bites. So snack stars. So basically what these are is a protein snack for kids. No sugar, no added sugar. I think we're using pea protein. And again, we went through tons of development on it. But it's the arenas that started asking it for us because the parents are going up to the concession stand saying, well, I don't want to buy my kid a donut. I don't want to buy my kid a cookie. I want to give them something a little healthier. Can you guys please make something because there's a pre-existing demand? We're going to be launching that now in late winter. So when you think about what Cizzle Brands, yes, Quench is the hero brand, no different than Coke is to Coca-Cola or Pepsi is to Pepsi. But we are ultimately a house of brands. We want to make products, whether you're thirsty, whether you're working out, whether you want some supplements, whether you want to eat, whether you want a snack, we're going to make the absolute best product for you. No sugar, high in protein, and actually calibrated to the specifics of a pro athlete. We can be that healthy version of what craft is. And we've already started proving it on the drink side. We do a lot of stuff with pro athletes. We've brought in a lot of influencers as well. This guy over here, Coach Chippy. Does anybody know who Coach Chippy is? Okay, he's a YouTube influencer, does these funny videos, hockey tips. Kids love this guy. When it was BioSteel, John did programs with Pat Mahomes and Connor McDavid. Coach Chippy outsold both of those guys combined in 2 months. We launched a SKU with him in January, a pineapple, called Tropical Flow. It's sold out 3 times over. This one over here we did with all of our content creators, Sully Freeze. Doing phenomenally well, it's white freezy flavor. We did another one with him for the summer, Pink Lemon Flow, so pink lemonade flavor. Again, you'd go into a vending machine, yes, our product sells well, but you'd always see that one cold more. So, I mean, look, if this were all the way again at the beginning and I had to pick a lineup of Nathan McKinnon, Andrew Wiggins, and Coach Chippy, I probably wouldn't have picked Coach Chippy, but Coach Chippy wins. You know, it sells them all. You know, with Team USA Hockey, they've got the Olympics coming up next year. We're going to have a Miracle on Ice SKU for the US. I think that one's going to do extremely well. So, again, we work with a lot of pro athletes. Anybody an NFL fan? Anybody know who Dominican Sue is? That's right, he's on our board now. So, we bring in the best of the best because that's the caliber of the product that we make. And I think when you have those athletes standing behind the product and you're presenting that to parents and to kids, it's something that they then can stand behind and feel good about because, you know, these athletes at this point, it's a long long gone are the days you would see Doug Gilmore coming out of Maple Leaf Gardens with a Bud Light in his hand and a cigarette in his mouth. Like they're treated a lot different now, and they're effectively, well-oiled machines. Their trainers don't give them anything that isn't as clean as possible. So that's the product that we make. I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. I think we got like 5 minutes or so. If anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'll be walking around.
It is well discussed in the beverage industry that thousands of products in the market every year, and so few reach millions and 50 million systems. Well, what do you think is the primary reason for that, and what are you guys trying to do to not be in that category?
I think the biggest challenge a lot of these companies face is that they make what they believe is a better mousetrap and expect the world to beat a path down to your door. That you go out and you get the listings, okay? You go out and get the listings. You have to work with your retailers. You have to put programs together to actually incentivize, initial purchase and get people buying the product. Then you have to go create content with engaging people so that the brand stays fresh. Where a lot of people fail, I find, is that they drop a product into the market and then they expect, oh, it's on the shelf, it'll sell itself. It doesn't sell itself, right? People pat themselves on the back if they get a distribution deal with Walmart. You know how many SKUs there are at Walmart? You don't buy them all. I don't even know 90% of them exist. I know what I know and I go in and buy what I want. So the shelf piece is important. That's why I said it's these three things. Like, yes, you got to be able to make it at scale, because if you get orders from these guys, which BioSteel had $55 million a year, just Costco Canada, and we're talking to them, keep that at that. When they put in an order, you best deliver in the time that they want, otherwise they're not carrying your product. So that's number one. Number two, once you get that order, you have to figure out where on the shelf it needs to go, but then you have to put the muscle behind the marketing piece to make sure that it stays top of mind, so that when somebody's going to the aisle and they see a sea of products that they could otherwise buy, they understand what the value proposition is about your brand, how it compares to everyone else, and why this one is the one that I'm going to be spending my money on. And I think we do a phenomenal job of that last piece, of engaging with our community and making sure that they understand and are aware of why you should be buying ours versus anyone else's.
Is Quench in any of the Costco's locally around this area?
Not yet. We're working on a roadshow piece with them. So we're looking at the initial part of the listing process, but we're also getting a roadshow going in Texas with Costco.
And then is Lifetime Fitness the only U.S. retailer that's selling Quench?
No. So, Giant Eagle is a distributor there.
I've never seen it anywhere else besides Lifetime.
Lifetime, because Lifetime is chain-wide, if you go to Lifetime, you'll see it there. We're starting the distribution process now in the US, but again, it's very much state by state by state. So the initial states we're going after are Michigan, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Connecticut, upstate New York, and Illinois. So that's sort of that northeastern corridor, again, on the hockey side. And distribution is starting. Remember when I told you in the beginning, like you start, at the bottom, like, okay, you do the grassroots deals. So we've done all the grassroots deals. Then you do the arenas. Then you're moving into some of the regional grocers, regional convenience. We're at that stage. In Canada, we're at the stage where really we've got everyone. The next step is, and these guys. In the US, it's earlier, but it's a much, much bigger market. So it takes a bit longer to actually get up to that volume. And once you get up to that volume, great, we did 13 million this year, that'll be a quarter, right? So this year, there's a big focus on the US side, and then for next year, it'll be even more so.
Thanks. And then what kind of sales do you have to get to profitability?
We should be profitable by Q4 this year, start to turn and show EBITDA positive. Our Q4 is May, June, July. That would be around 3-ish million a month. But the good part is, once you get to that point, like these are all base load sales, right? Once you get these guys through the pipe fill, they're churning, you know their velocity, you can forecast that with a much greater degree of efficiency. But that just becomes recurring revenue. Now every new account that you add builds on top. So that revenue going forward becomes very protected. Sorry?
3 to 5 years, how can you see the company in terms of sales?
By next year, so fiscal 2027, will be 70-ish million in sales. By year 5, we'll be well into like the 200-300 million. Because like the cycle goes like this. As you break through these natural plateaus, 10 mil is actually a plateau in this business. To crack 10 mil is very hard. Once you crack 10 mil, it becomes pretty easy to get up to 50. Once you crack 50, getting up to the 100, 300, and if you don't like, I mean, you look at Celsius, it's the same thing. It took them forever to get to that 10 mil, and then it just started flying because at that point, you draw the attention of all these big guys. Their orders are not the same as Bob's hockey shop. Gross margin, we're at 54% gross margin. So EBITDA margin, we'd be in and around 25-ish.
What are the retailers? What are the retailers making?
30 to 35. Like we wholesale for about 25 for a 12, so that's $225 a box. It typically retails for around $379 to $399. So there's a healthy margin in it for everybody up the value chain, including us. And it's priced accordingly. So it's priced at a premium, but not an exorbitant premium to something like a Gatorade. And I know I'm running out of time, but I'll be over there. Thank you guys.